let's go back to failure for a minute, and the mindset that you and your leadership team at Tesla and SpaceX have on failure. I mean, the SpaceX blooper reel that you guys did in, I think it was 2017 timeframe, was definitely, hey, we embrace this learning that occurs. More recently with the Tesla truck and the ball through the window, also that mindset, that mindset that embraces failure. How do you personally, I mean, those kinds of failures would drive a lot of us in this room nuts, but doesn't seem to drive you nuts. Seems like you're very comfortable with it. Can you talk about the mindset that requires for you to be that accepting of that kind of failure?
Sure. Should we roll the video?
No.
Or, should we not?
No, we should not roll the video. Not yet.
Okay. Well, I think of these things as just there's a certain amount of time, and within that time, you want the best net outcome. So for all the set of actions that you can do, there's going to be some of which will fail, some of which will succeed, and you want the net useful output of your set of actions to be the highest. I mean, to use like a baseball analogy. Like, at baseball, they don't let you just sit there and wait for the perfect pitch until you get a real easy one. They can give you 3 shots, and on the third one, they say, okay, and they get off and they go back to put somebody else up there. So your 3 strikes on baseball, not on bat anymore. So what you're really looking for is like, what's the batting average? How you doing on score, and just there's going to be some amount of failure, but you want your net output, net useful output to be maximized. Failure is essentially irrelevant unless it is catastrophic.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Intellectual property. Obviously, Tesla, SpaceX, Solar City have amazing capabilities that they're bringing to the public and to the government every day. How do you protect your intellectual property in a world where it seems like the cloud and servers and things are constantly under attack from people wishing to free you of your intellectual property?
Yeah, well, actually, at Tesla, we just open sourced our patents some years ago, so anyone can use our patents. So we really have not tried to protect intellectual property in that sense. We've tried to actually smooth the path, because the overarching goal of Tesla is to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. And so if we created a patent portfolio that discouraged other companies from making electric cars, that would be inconsistent with our mission. So we open sourced all the patents, in order to help anyone else who wants to make an electric car. So I guess that's the opposite of protecting the IP. Now the real way I think you actually achieve intellectual property protection is by innovating fast enough. If your rate of innovation is high, then you don't need to worry about protecting the IP, because other companies will be copying something that you did years ago. And that's fine. Just make sure your rate of innovation is fast. Speed of innovation is what matters. And I do say this to my teams quite a lot, that innovation per unit time, as I go innovation per year, if you want to say it, is what matters, not innovation absent time. Because if you wanted to make, say, 100% improvement in something, and that took 100 years or 1 year, that's radically different. So it's like, what is your rate of innovation? that matters. And is the rate of innovation, is that accelerating or decelerating? And a weird thing happens when companies get big is that most companies or organizations, the bigger they get, they tend to get less innovative. Not just less innovative on a per person basis, but less innovative in the absolute. And I think this is probably because the incentive structure is not there for innovation. It's not enough to use words to encourage innovation. The incentive structure must be aligned with that. That's fundamental.
So taking that from a business level to a national level in terms of obviously the United States, largest economy in the world, China, the second largest economy in the world currently and gaining fast. What sort of things that could you share with the audience here that are your thoughts on the competition, economic or military, between the United States and China?
Sure. Well, I think China's a real interesting country, I have to say. The thing to appreciate about China is just that there's a lot of really smart, really hardworking people there, and they're going to do a lot of great things. This is sort of, independent of Chinese government policy. They're just going to do a lot of interesting things. The thing that will feel pretty strange is that the Chinese economy is going to be probably at least twice as big as the US economy. Maybe 3 times, but at least twice. And that assumes a GDP per capita still less than the US. But since they have about 4 or 5 times the population, then it would only require getting to a GDP per capita of half the United States for their economy to be twice the size of ours. And as I'm sure people in this room know, the foundation of war is economics. And so if you have half the resources of the counterparty, then you better be real innovative. If you're not innovative, you're going to lose.
I'm not sure whether that's a cyber attack that's ongoing or not here, so. The clock says I have 11 minutes left. Is that not true?
Let's get some smooth.
All right, so smooth jazz, Elon.
Smooth jazz.
It's coming through the House system. We're working to get it shut off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, well, anyway. So yeah, with respect to China, China's economy is going to be 2 to 3 times the size of the U.S. economy, at least double. So therefore, in order for the U.S. to be competitive on a military level, the innovation has to overcome a gigantic gap in economic output.
Okay.
So in the absence of radical innovation, the U.S. will be militarily second.
Okay.
Basic math.
What, from the standpoint of radical innovation, we already talked about workforce, we talked about processes, we talked about protecting intellectual property rights. Let's talk about overall culture. That culture that you try and push into your companies that makes them successful. Any of us, and I sat right next to one of your SpaceX employees on the plane here yesterday, a young engineer. It was motivating for me just to talk to her about what she was doing every day and how important her job was. And I just felt like the only other place I've seen that kind of culture is, frankly, in the Department of the Air Force with some of our young folks that are sprinkled around the back of the room. How do you create that culture at SpaceX and Tesla to make employees like that?
Well, wow, this smooth jazz is on us with a vengeance. It's like, I feel like we're in a big elevator. So, well, first of all, when we interview people, we do ask for some evidence of exceptional ability, which in most cases includes innovation. This is not to say that everyone needs to be innovative. But we certainly need those that are doing advanced engineering to be innovative. And ideally, everyone is at least to some degree innovative. So at the interview point, we select for people who want to create new technology, and then the incentive structure is set up such that innovation is rewarded. Making mistakes along the way does not come with a big penalty. But failure to try to innovate at all comes with a big penalty. You'll be fired.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The carrot and stick.
Yes.
That's the stick.
If you don't even try, or somebody doesn't even try to innovate, or their innovation aspirations are not very good, then yeah, they will no longer be at the company.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got about 5 minutes left, and what I'd like to do is just turn it over to you, Elon, to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. If you have a message for the audience here, you have 1,000+ air and space professionals and the greatest air and space force on the planet. So what do you want to tell them?
We got to make Starfleet happen. So we want real big spaceships that can go far places, and well, this will probably get me into the most trouble of all. I think this should be a new uniform. That's like I don't know, cool uniforms, cool spaceships. I think that's what when the public hears Space Force, that's what they think. It's like, okay, we're gonna have like some sweet spaceships and like pretty good uniforms and stuff, and that's what the public wants. So we want the sci-fi futures, the good sci-fi futures to be real, and ideally to become real while we're still alive. And we want to see it happen. And so I think we just really need to drive the rate of innovation to be such that we would see big breakthroughs, big improvements in space technology in the years to come. So, yeah, so like just try to make Starfleet happen as soon as humanly possible, and definitely while we're still alive. Yeah. So I'm not sure about warp drive, but other stuff I think can be done.
Gotcha.
Warp drive and teleportation, probably not, but big spaceships that can go far places, definitely that can be done.
Understood.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk.